guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm RexFinance, and today we're going to talk about the best Bitcoin stock to own for 2021. Now, there are actually only a handful of companies that are publicly traded that mine Bitcoin, so it's a small field to choose from. But today I'm going to be talking about a company and a stock that I have owned for a long time that I believe to be the best Bitcoin stock to own, regardless of the fact that it's not their main business segment. So I'm sure most of you guys that are watching this video are very aware of Bitcoin's recent price movements. Just a couple weeks ago, Bitcoin crossed the $20,000 mental barrier, and it's even traded as high as $24,000 per Bitcoin. So obviously there's been a lot of hype and a lot of people starting to invest in this cryptocurrency. Now, this video isn't going to be about what Bitcoin is or what the blockchain is. So if you're unsure about those two things, I would highly suggest you do your own research, watch other YouTube videos on it, or even do a Google search to gain a better understanding of what blockchain and Bitcoin is. When it comes to Bitcoin, you basically have two options. You can buy Bitcoin directly through your brokerage, or you can buy companies or stocks that mine Bitcoin or work on the blockchain. Now, Bitcoin has two primary issues. The first is that it is a very energy intensive, high power operation, which means it's very expensive and it's a really low margin business to be in. Until Bitcoin prices rise even further, there aren't going to be very many Bitcoin miners out there that are profitable, especially if that is their only business segment. The second big issue with Bitcoin is that it has extremely volatile price action. That means it can swing up or it can swing down drastically in a matter of seconds, minutes, or hours. And what that can cause, if Bitcoin prices dip low enough and stay low enough for a long enough time, these companies that mine Bitcoin have an inherent risk to go bankrupt because it's their only business segment. It's all they do. So the company I'm talking about today addresses both of those issues. They solve both of those issues. Bankruptcy really isn't at play for this company. They bring the cost of energy, the cost of power down to the cheapest cost yet demonstrated. On top of this, Bitcoin mining is just a small business segment of the overall company. Now, before we get into this, I have to disclose that I am not a financial advisor, and these are just my thoughts and ideas. So please do not take what I say and buy into a company or Bitcoin just because I'm talking about it on my YouTube channel. Even if other YouTubers talk about the same companies, that never means you should buy into that company. You are responsible for making your buying and selling decisions, and you are responsible ultimately to your gains and losses in the stock market. So don't blindly invest in a stock I talk on my channel. This company I'm talking about today, I am very bullish on, and I personally own 3,000 shares of this company. Now, because of my track record on YouTube, I don't think I've had a losing pick ever since starting my channel, and most of the stocks I've bought into have doubled in share price at a minimum. And we can see that in my Robinhood portfolio. This was an update I took just a few hours ago prior to recording this video. We have 755% gain in the past year. I think you would be hard pressed to find other YouTubers or other individuals out there that can match that performance. So inherently, again, I have kind of an audience that blindly invests in what I buy. But again, I'm reminding you, please make your own decisions. These are just my thoughts, my ideas. I understand I'm kind of convincing, right? But please do your own research. But as a last side note, if you want to get early on all of these stocks I buy into, become a paid monthly member. I originally bought into this stock that I'm talking about today at $4 per share, and today it just crossed $26 per share. My paid monthly members receive early access to all of these investments. They know when I buy these companies the second I press that buy button. In fact, they know a couple of days before the rest of my YouTube audience finds out. So if that interests you, hit the join button down below. It's located right next to the subscribe button. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. So yes, if you guys have watched my channel for a long time, you know that I'm very bullish on CleanSpark, and you probably guessed that the company we're talking about today is CleanSpark. And I honestly think CleanSpark is the best Bitcoin mining play in the entire stock market, at least from what I have studied. And that is for a variety of reasons, which I will cover in today's video. So first, let's just cover the basis. Why CleanSpark? The first thing I want to highlight is that CleanSpark is not entirely reliant on Bitcoin's success. It's relatively numb to Bitcoin's price fluctuations. The management team at CleanSpark has come out and said that the break even on their Bitcoin investment or their Bitcoin mining operations is less than $6,000 per Bitcoin. So at Bitcoin prices over $24,000, That's really not a risk, but it's something I wanted to add here. The main industry that CleanSpark is focused in is the microgrid industry. Now, I'm not going to go over what CleanSpark's main business segments are because I've covered that so many times on my channel. So if you're new to CleanSpark, I would recommend you go back on my channel, watch my old videos on CleanSpark, and you'll gain a pretty good understanding of what CleanSpark does. I've even done a couple interviews with the executive chairman of the company, so those videos are really good. I'll leave a link to them both down in the description below. But the microgrid industry, which CleanSpark is primarily focused on, is an industry growing at 28% compounded annually. On top of that, CleanSpark has doubled their revenues 3 years in a row without Bitcoin being a factor. So they have a very healthy business outside of this small business segment that they just acquired. CleanSpark made the endeavor into the Bitcoin mining space due to the microgrids and the benefits that they provide to Bitcoin mining companies. They acquired ATL data centers outright, and I did a video on that as well. So hit the eye in the top right corner if you guys want to go watch that video as well. But in my personal opinion, I think CleanSpark is better than Marathon, ticker symbol MARA, and Riot Blockchain, ticker symbol RIOT. So in today's video, I will only be discussing CleanSpark's Bitcoin mining segment. So first, let's start with Marathon. Why do I think this is a better Bitcoin investment than Marathon? Marathon is probably the most popular Bitcoin mining company that people are buying into. And it's going to sound like I'm ripping Marathon apart, and that'll probably peeve off some people that are watching this video, but please at least see through what I'm saying and, just compare to what your thoughts are on the company, and maybe you'll come to some conclusions that I've come up with myself. So with Marathon, we know they've been in business since 2010. But they have yet to prove anything. Bitcoin was first created in 2009, so Marathon has been around basically since Bitcoin was created. You would expect them to be the leader in the space. However, Riot Blockchain is beating them by a wide margin. So this company has been in business for 10 years, and to be fair to them, they have not been in the Bitcoin mining or blockchain sector through the entirety of the company. It's something they picked up on more recently than 2010, but that still speaks to the management team and their wishy-washiness. Marathon's entire investor presentation is focused on anticipations and projections. They don't have much prior history or performance that they've proven listed out on their investor presentation. I understand on the investor presentation, you want to talk about what the future of your company holds, but when the entire thing is made up of projections and anticipations, it's kind of a turnoff to me. They haven't proven anything, which goes back to my first point. You'd expect that their revenues would be over $1 million per quarter. However, it's significantly less than that. Just to provide an example that isn't CleanSpark, Riot Blockchain, probably the second most popular Bitcoin mining company among investors, is nearing $2 million in revenue per quarter from mining Bitcoin. Also, if you read through Marathon's news releases, press releases, and their SEC filings, you can clearly see that they've been ordering miners for years. But I go back to this. Where's the revenue? If they've been ordering all these miners, why don't they have millions of dollars of revenue? I understand Bitcoin's price has fluctuated drastically, but they haven't had a standout quarter ever since their inception. Now, just to cover that second point I made, that their entire investor presentation is pretty much focused on anticipations and projections, I'll go through some of their slides. The first slide here speaks for itself. The first words I read are in theory. And then when I read the other side of the screen, I see in practice. Today, they claim they're mining 2 Bitcoin a day, which amounts to $500,000 per month. But they project by quarter 4 of 2021 that they're going to be mining 15 to 20 Bitcoins per day. Again, they've been in the industry for some time now. How are they only at 2 Bitcoins mined per day? Also, if we go back to their most recent quarterly report, we can see that their revenues only totaled $900,000. If what they're saying on this slide is true and they're making $500,000 a month, in one quarter, they should be making about $1.5 million from their mining operations. But when we go back to their quarterly report again, they only had $800,000 in revenue. So again, I don't really understand that. So this first slide I'm showing you here is clearly focused on anticipations and projections. And they've had anticipations and projections to go hard in this industry for a long time now, and it has never panned out, which is one of my key points in this video. Why would you not go with the already trusted and proven management team at CleanSpark over this company, Marathon, that hasn't proven anything and has had empty promises to shareholders for years? This next slide I'm showing you, the first thing they say is if all miners were deployed today. The entire slide is focused on a projection or an anticipation or a what if. It's not solid concrete revenue or numbers. And we can see in their own graph, all of 2020, every single month they've had less than $500,000 in revenue. But on the previous slide, they were saying that they had $500,000 in revenue per month. But when we look at this slide, it doesn't match up with that. Why didn't they start to ramp up their revenues? Why didn't they start to ramp up their production during that time span? Why are they choosing now to start doing this? The easy answer for me is that they've wanted to do this for a long time and they've kept pushing it off. So why would they not delay this even further? And just to prove the point even further, here's yet another slide. If all miners were deployed today and Bitcoin's price was, no concrete evidence. We don't know what Bitcoin's price is going to be in the future, so I'll give them a break on that one. But again, they're saying this if all miners were deployed today. Why would you say that? This investor presentation is filled with anticipations, projections, and ifs that they've had for many years. So it baffles me that people are choosing this company over even Riot Blockchain, but especially CleanSpark. And it's probably just the lack of knowledge that CleanSpark does have a Bitcoin mining operation currently. And I mentioned earlier in the video, CleanSpark acquired ATL data centers. And within 2 weeks, both of these press releases came out. And in just these 2 press releases combined, CleanSpark has stated that they've ordered 1,500 new miners that they will implement and will be operational in January. That is 1 week away from today. And Marathon has been flirting around with this stuff for years. CleanSpark gets the job done. They don't mess around. When they see an opportunity, they take the opportunity. They are a very smart management team. And again, people are paying a premium for Marathon who doesn't have actual revenues yet, when instead they could be paying for CleanSpark who isn't at risk of the volatility of Bitcoin's price action. They're in a better industry overall, and they've been doubling revenues each of the last 3 years without Bitcoin. On top of that, CleanSpark has the trusted management team. Ever since I've been a shareholder, the management team has fulfilled every single promise they've made to shareholders. That goes a long ways. So don't get me wrong, if Marathon truly fulfills its promises this time and they get all their miners in place and operational, it will be a great stock to own, especially if Bitcoin prices continue to rise. So now let's cycle back to why CleanSpark. Again, this management team gets to work. Ever since I've been a shareholder, they have fulfilled every single promise they've made. They have a proven track record with a drive that few management teams have. Also, CleanSpark is currently mining around 2 Bitcoin per day, which is what Marathon has in their projections. So currently, CleanSpark's ATL data centers is mining more Bitcoin per day than Marathon. And CleanSpark plans to scale that up to about 6 Bitcoin per day. To be fair to the Marathon shareholders, they're projecting that they will be mining 15 Bitcoin per day. But again, that's in September. That's not in January. As soon as this acquisition went through for CleanSpark, this management team got to work, and their new miners that they just purchased are going to be operational in 1 to 2 weeks from today. Literally 1 month or less from the time they acquired the company. And CleanSpark's current market cap is a little over half of what Marathon's current market cap is. So why would you take the risk of investing in Marathon when you can take the risk of investing in CleanSpark, which is a lot less risky? You have a trusted management team, and if Bitcoin flops, God forbid, CleanSpark's going to survive as a company because that mining operation is just a small part of what CleanSpark does as a whole. And when you see the bigger picture, CleanSpark is focused on microgrids. They're not focused on this Bitcoin stuff much. They're focused on the cost savings they can provide for Bitcoin mining companies. They acquired this company. It was a very smart acquisition because it's going to be a cash cow for them in the future. But through this acquisition, CleanSpark has already stated they're expecting hundreds of new microgrid projects as a direct result of the acquisition. So again, I'm going to say it. Why would anybody take the risk of investing in Marathon? They've been making promises to shareholders for years, and those promises have continued to be pushed back. With CleanSpark, this management team fulfills their promises and they fulfill them quickly. So now let's cover Riot Blockchain and why I still think CleanSpark's a better investment than Riot Blockchain. I actually used to be a shareholder of Riot Blockchain when I first started investing, so that's kind of a fun side story of this video. But yes, I think Riot Blockchain is a much better investment than Marathon is. Riot Blockchain at least has the revenues and the track record to prove what their management team's vision is for the company. But Riot Blockchain is still vulnerable to that Bitcoin price action, and they are still unprofitable. But let's just look at Riot Blockchain's income statement quickly. Again, we can see that they have those revenues. Almost 4 times the revenues Marathon has, and Marathon has been in the business longer than Riot Blockchain has. Riot Blockchain has consistently been growing its revenues. They've been buying new miners, making them operational, and implementing them in a relatively quick time span. So if you're a Riot Blockchain shareholder, hats off to you. You've made a lot of money, and I think you're in a lot better company than Marathon. But again, if we look at the bottom line, we can see that Riot Blockchain is unprofitable. And all of the publicly traded companies that mine Bitcoin are currently unprofitable, which is another big point I want to make with CleanSpark. CleanSpark is going to be the first company that has a Bitcoin mining segment that becomes profitable. And that is a big deal. By reaching profitability, it just takes away even more risk of investing into the company. And again, I just want to highlight, you're paying just under half the price for CleanSpark versus Marathon. Meaning you're almost paying double the valuation for Marathon, who is currently doing the same exact numbers as CleanSpark's Bitcoin mining segment. But you also get a company that is heavily focused in the microgrid industry and had a 300 million market cap before this Bitcoin mining acquisition took place. So by choosing CleanSpark, you're getting the exact same Bitcoin output as Marathon, but for a much more enticing investment because there's so much more that comes along with investing in CleanSpark. Another big thing that should be highlighted, neither Riot Blockchain nor Marathon create their own power. CleanSpark creates their own power. They're a microgrid company. They also create power via microgrids for U.S. embassies, the U.S. Marines, Walmart, etc. The list goes on and on and on. They really have unlimited possibilities for their microgrid industry and the potential customers they can sign on. Also in this new pandemic relief bill, if you guys did not know, I'll leave a link down in the description below. There was actually money included in the bill to fund the purchase of microgrids. And let me tell you, that is a very good sign if the US government is investing directly into the industry that the overall company is focused on. On top of that, if the US government is trusting CleanSpark to keep their power up at US embassies all around the world, if the US Marines are trusting CleanSpark with their microgrid applications, and if Walmart, the biggest grocery chain in the United States of America, is trusting CleanSpark with their microgrid applications, you're in a good investment. And again, I would way rather be invested in CleanSpark than Marathon or Riot Blockchain for that matter of fact. You're not 100% reliant on the price of Bitcoin if you're invested in CleanSpark. So I personally own 3,000 shares of this company, CleanSpark, ticker symbol CLSK. I've held shares since $4 per share. I'm not selling these shares anytime soon unless something fundamental changes with the company that I don't like. I will never be a YouTuber that pumps and dumps a stock. If I'm talking about a company on my channel, I truly believe in that company and I'm here for the long haul. If I still had empty hands, meaning I had 0 shares and I was looking from the outside in at this video, my recommendation would be to buy every single dip that this stock makes. Chances are even 12 months down the line, you're not going to beat yourself up if you get in for $1 higher than you could have. So in my opinion, go with the already proven management team in CleanSpark. Avoid taking that huge hit to your portfolio if Bitcoin tanks. Also, be invested in an industry growing at 28% compounded annually. On top of that, you're also going to be invested in a company that has doubled revenues each of the last 3 years without the help of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin flops, CleanSpark has a healthy business and it will survive. And again, if the government and the US Marines are directly investing into an industry or even a company you own, you know your investment is a good one. CleanSpark is doing just as much as Marathon is doing currently for just over half the market cap. So in my personal opinion, you're paying for a way better company by investing in CleanSpark versus Marathon. I also think CleanSpark's a better investment than Riot Blockchain, but if you had to pick between Marathon and Riot Blockchain, I would go Riot Blockchain all the frickin' way. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let's hit 1,000 likes yet again. I think we've hit it 3 videos in a row, so that's kind of crazy, but I would really appreciate that. Leave a comment down below at what price and how many shares you own of CleanSpark. Also, let me know if you plan on picking up any shares of CleanSpark going into the future. With that, have a great rest of your day. I'll be back with some brand new videos this week. Peace out.